O Dhamma Shri Soha, O Namo Manju Shri Namo So Shri Namo O Dhamma Shri Soha, O Namo Manju Shri Namo So Shri Namo O Dhamma Shri Soha. Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Sange Chedan Sugi Juna Lai Janju Badu Dandi Gyazuji Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonangi Jola Benje Sange Chuba Sho Dagi Juji Medo Dang Rira Li Shi Ni Te Kimba Di Sange Shindo Mi Te Ua Yi Jogi Nanda Shin La Chuba Sho Ita Guru Rana Mendala Kandi Ataya Mi
Doma Doma Jina Sinja Data, Chicago Sendi, Mama Chikadin Chada, Mama Jiba Chicken, Mashika, Chavan, Change Mandana, the one that Jango Polo, Chicken, Dinian Bashi, no one, the Ega Pichitan, Change Mandana, the Chief Pistol for the Tena China, Demba Chip, Demba Tavisha, the Shini Madama, the Shinji, Shampaboyans.
All sentient beings have been our mothers, and all sentient beings have been our mothers for numberless times. They are as kind as our mothers of this life. Even though all kind mothers sentient beings want happiness and do not even want small suffering, however, due to not knowing the objects of abandonment and adoption properly, they create a karma that brings forth the result of suffering only. In our mind, sincerely generate loving thoughts towards all mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice if all kind mother sentient beings had happiness. May all kind mother sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind mother sentient beings to have excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Mandana goes into Mandibicho, Tada Tana Chamu, Tawa Chichi, Tawa Dabisha, Division of Adamo and Changeable before.
Next, we cultivate compassion to all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice if 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from discordant class. May 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from discordant class. I will cause 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from discordant class. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Third age is Mandana, Kodan, the Suku Dumala doing the Sula Pudu, and then Yarala project, I think the Hanta was the Sanji Bangi, the Body Sula is in Hanta was the Sanjila Shini. This is a transit that Sanji change of the shower, change simple.
Next, we cultivate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves who should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. I should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of 3 lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so now. Only those who have achieved the perfect, complete enlightenment have the ability to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all sentient beings, by all means may I become Buddha.
더 대지스 이제 통지 때는 상지시 공부하고 샤오 요즘에 미세 공부 받더니 라그니가 다 이치로는 그 넘바지를 줘. 그처럼 제가 이제 모두 동반을 하는 서로지도 좀 대단한 장신 라그니가 다 이치로 대대로 도제가 생각도 넘바지를 줘서 사태서 내가 지셔서 간절한 적 있었지.
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind, aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all sentient beings, I will become Buddha. These transform into a white mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, that all phenomena are lacking of inherent existence. These transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
더 대지 더 풍부하다고 이기다 더네 강대하면 그 그래서 이제 지금 동안이 사태서 동반이 추지스는 거죠.
Next, we meditate for a short while on emptiness, that I neither exist intrinsically one with, nor intrinsically different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically.
대지에서는 발신 좀 있는 거 세서 다들어. 그래서 이 드림 간다 인진당 고주변에서 루지 받아. 이 간다 예상고서 간리지 제와이나 이 이게 자원데 신진지기 체도 받는 이 사건 동세 야버서 보셔 이제는 하는 짓이지.
Next is to conjoin these 2 hours, these 2 hours of Dhamma discussions with the practice of 6 perfections. First one is the practice of generosity. And generosity is mainly about the mind of giving. So for these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I give these roots of virtue to all sentient beings.
더 대지에서 수리인연에 수리인연에서도 어디나 공생과세 이마고 이제는 공화세와 이마고 이제는 공화는 다 수리인연에 참. 당연히 진짜 소소히는 이마고 이제는 예바도 있는 거 맞죠. 얘도 뭐냐면 수리인도 우리 방송에서 리스는 거 진짜로.
Next is the practice of morality. And morality is mainly about the minds of abandoning physical and verbal negativities. So for these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I'm going to guard my body and speech so that negativities do not arise.
더 대지에서 수리인연에 더 간다 주진이기인가라 간다 내상 고서 간리 제바이나 얘라베 리스나 강이 같이 좀바이 베스스 탄도니 얘기 사들리게 상식도 수스는 수리인연이시. 뭐
And the next one is practice of patience. So for these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical and mental hardships that occurs, I will willingly accept it. I will embrace it.
더 대지스 전지중앙의 심발라 당원서 개와도의 신지 대셔 신의 법도 전지중앙의 신의 법도로 개와라 간의 신의 법도 이 샤워도 신의 법도 시스템에 되죠 더 개와도의 신지 대셔 신의 법도의 토는 대간다 된대 진정 고치면 맞지 보다 된대 전지 지면 제비 지는 사람들이 상당히
Next one is the practice of joyous effort. And joyous effort is an enthusiastic mind for virtue, for the sake of sentient beings. So for these 2 hours of teaching, from the beginning to the end, I'm going to engage in the class with joyous effort.
That is something that's something also 진짜 디기리나데 제샤 카리나 디기 톨라파 셈바드 네바나도 다 나도다 나요도 모르었어 나도다 나요도 마스와 제샤 디기 톨라파 상 세치를 돈 디기에서 디기 삼바지 정바이나 삼바나시 정바이나 그 상태이 많은지 쓰고와
Next is to conjoin the session with the practice of meditative concentration. So meditative concentration is to focus one's mind on the object. An object is today's lesson. So when we focus our mind on today's lesson, we do not get distracted by other issue. For example, family issue or works issue. Our mind focus on the lessons.
That is sheriff generally symbol. 그 실업진년의 실업세월은 어디지나 실업 농반지지 실업세월 대선사 당어서 들이 제셔비 시대 대 강기나데 제발 네번 제 투버치 이번 제 투버치 지기에서 람도는 강기나바 예발 힘바치 지기에서 무슨 상황이나 그 상황들 리비토는 가서 뉴시를 말려도 대야부시 시대 정말이나 이시를 그냥 있어요.
The next one is to conjoin this session with the practice of wisdom. And wisdom is the wisdom that distinguishes thoroughly all phenomena. So to conjoin this session with the practice of wisdom, I will properly distinguish the word and the meaning of the words, and also the object of abandonment and object of adoptions properly.
That is 계승제 통지적인 선지식 공부도 대지가 담비 취생 연의 측인들 중에 계승제를 배워두고 사도스 그렇지죠.
Set motivation for the sake of all sentient beings. I will become Buddha. For this purpose, I'm going to receive the commentary on the holy teachings and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Thank you. 다다당 가서 예수 가지고 두고 상을 담바 나시 당연히를 말려고 대화랑 또 투바지 대체가 개체로 와 데리지 제투바이나 어서 가지고 두고 나는 지신도 와 어서서 샤와 간디지는 나지 따버리시고 개와 간디 두바이나 파시 두고 나는 파 상을 담는 자니 네 개체 뭐시다 잡고 와
Yeah, so we think about conjoining this session with the practice of 6 perfections. So it's also very important to have to keep this mindset when we engage in the actual sessions. So if we're able to do so, then we are able to conjoin. We are actually able to conjoin these sessions with the practice of 6 perfections. And I also mentioned many times before, it's very important to conjoin whatever virtuous activities that we are going to engage in with the practice of 6 perfections. I always mention about the importance of doing so. Yeah, so I'm going to start with the 20th secondary affliction, distraction. What is distraction? It is a scattering of the mind and is involved with attachment, hatred, and ignorance. It has the functions of hindering separation from attachment. So the nature of distraction is it causes the mind to be distracted from its object of observation through the force of afflictions. Discussions of the five aggregates explains it as a scattering of the mind to the five attributes of the desirium. In other words, is five desired objects: form, feeling, form, sound, smell, taste, object of touch. Is there a difference? Is there no difference between these distractions and the excitement that was explained above? And the answer is, excitement is a scattering to attractive objects previously familiarized with and is involved with attachment. For example, when you are doing single-pointed meditations, then you experience a nice smell, then your mind is scattered toward it, then it becomes an excitement. And whereas distractions can be distracted to any object and be involved with all three poisons, thus they are different. So distractions can be distracted to any object and be involved with all three poisons, thus is not necessarily involved with attachment. So when distraction is divided, there are 6: distraction by way of its very entity, external distraction, internal distraction, distraction by way of signs, distraction by way of unfavorable states. In other words, by distraction by way of negative tendency. And the last one is distraction by way of mental engagement. Distraction by way of its very entity, the first one, is explained to be the 5 sense consciousnesses. So eye, ear, nose, body, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. So these 5 sense consciousnesses. The reason is that at the time of being set in equipoise on meditative concentration, if any of the 5 sense consciousnesses are generated, then the mind arises from meditative concentration. and thus they are called outward distractions of the mind away from meditative concentration. So, for example, if one chose the Buddha's image to be the object to focus on, so when your mind single-pointedly focus on it, but your sense consciousness arise in relation to a pleasant sound, then if your mind did get distracted and go toward the pleasant sound, then a distraction happens, or can be a pleasant sound, or it can be a beautiful object. So, and when these any of these five sense consciousness are generated and your mind go toward that object, then you arise from meditative concentration. So you get distracted already. So because your mind do not focus, your mind doesn't focus on the intended object other than your mind doesn't focus on the intended object anymore. And the second one is external distraction. That is when one is engaged in virtues of the three, listening, contemplation, and meditation, the outward scattering of the mind to the attributes of the desirium without abiding in them, such as a virtue. Since it causes scattering to an erroneous object of observation without abiding on the virtuous object of observation, it is called such. So if one you're supposed to focus your mind on the virtue of listening, contemplation, or meditations, but your mind scattered to the five desired objects, then that is called external extractions. So external distractions. So external distractions is different from attachment. So external distractions is your mind scattered outwards to the desired objects. It's a mere scattering of the mind to the desired objects. As compared to attachment, attachment is cling to the object. So this is the difference between distraction and attachment. And third one is internal distraction. Internal distractions is laxity, excitement, and craving for the taste of meditative absorptions at the time of being set in equipoise on meditative concentration. So when we come to the topic come to the chapter on calm abiding of Lamrim, then we will talk about laxity and excitement in depth. So these two are the main obstacles for one to cultivate, are the main obstacles to the cultivations of concentration. So laxity, excitement, and craving. So besides laxity and excitement, and there are other obstacles as well, such as lethargy, distractions, etc. So, however, laxity and excitement are the main obstacles to the cultivations of calm abiding, for example. So, if one trying to do the meditations, if one trying to develop meditative concentrations on the topic of emptiness or death and impermanence and calm abiding, then when the internal distractions arise, such as laxity, excitement, and craving for the taste of meditative absorptions, then one cannot focus on the intended object. So what is the reason for calling these internal distractions? They are so called because they are the main obstacles for cultivating meditative concentration internally. Yeah, so distraction by way of science is to put effort in virtuous training with the thought how wonderful it would be if another person were to develop conviction in me or believe me to be a meditator, that he has attained a concentration. So so put effort in virtuous training, then thinking how nice if other people think of me to be a meditator.
Njita sewa te pe njita te wo nga asne pe so pe shugin zi de tike je shingora njita pacha ta nga ja sewa de yirwa ta shine pe nga pe shugi hasi da do o ndi o ge nga se ke kan se pachi de la ni ni ti wa ase ta kanda ge wa shugi so wa shwa ti ni de la wa kanda.
Distraction by way of unfavorable state or negative tendency is a puffing up of the mind, or is an inflated mind, conceiving I and mine, when the feeling that one is engaging in virtue arises in dependence on the unfavorable states of the view of the transitory collections and pride. So due to view of the transitory unfavorable states of the view of the transitory collections and pride, then one hold on to the notions of I, and then one's mind become inflated. The last one is distraction by way of mental engagement is, for instance, giving up the meditative absorptions of the fourth concentration for the meditative absorptions of the third concentration or below, or thinking giving up engaging in the great vehicle, or giving up entering a great vehicle, and then I think I shall abide in the lower vehicle. So that is distraction by way of mental engagement.
Dan di shi bi na yin de dan ji na yin ji na da se song ba yin ji tang ji ni ni yin bi ne ba yo ma ri ye se tang bo la lu ma de ta ma la di ba yo ri ye se da di shi ne ta mo di ji na ba.
So these types of distractions explained here are thought to be general enumerations of distractions. It's just a general listings of distractions, but it is not definite that they are actual secondary afflictions. The first is unspecified, and the last one is included within virtue.
Umalia number Shubikara and the Tipa Chimbola, 다 넘버 슈비 가야 니티 나나 슈바 이노 이 나나 주로 이 샤와지 주로 야 나자다 주변 나나 슈디가 이나 야페 지바치 나나 야 슈르미지 디시오 바야 이데라
something 고마 인용 바슈비가다
디파탄이 이 산디 시발라 넘버 슈비 파탄이 가다 산디 숨발라 마 넘버 슈르디 이 넘버 슈발라 간다 이 나수디 지나 이 샤와지 주로 제도 와 리페 샤오게 간다 디레 치과 치고라베 소나 당부 휴니야 디지지 야 메기 네텔라만 하나 휴니게 다 네티 나나 휴스와이나 다 간다 타바트 디지리야 디 샤와지를 두르고 와 디 샤와도 지와 야 란자지 소나니야 휴니 야 디레소니야 베 티바치모 나나 야 휴니게 네 이거와 다 린데 당지 왔어 오 들리 서자 간다 일레시 나이스면서 들리 노고를 했어 당와서 넘버 슈비깔라 들리 제도를 해서 와
提醒基础浪同步的数据，你对接了年退给咱们学员两几位查了都给我了，都给我的，你年退对接了，提醒给咱们学员的两了，
一小都有了，
Yeah, so it says that how's it the listing here are just a general listings of distractions. It's not definite they are actual secondary afflictions, right? And the first one is distraction by way of its very entity, and these refer to five sense consciousnesses, right? So how's it the five sense consciousnesses how's it apprehending form, sound, etc. So they are unspecified. They are neither virtue. They are neither virtue or nor non-virtue. And the last one is distraction by way of mental engagement. And this one is included within virtue. So for example, if one, so the example here is one give up the meditative absorptions of the fourth concentration for the meditative concentration of the third concentrations. So even though you give up the higher concentrations, however, meditative absorptions of the third concentration itself still is included within virtue. So similarly, if one engage in the path of accumulation, engage in Mahayana path of accumulation, and later enter the path of hearers, then itself entering the path of hearers itself still is included within a virtue. So similar for another person who engage in the path of hearers and later engage the path of Mahayana path, then itself is included within virtue. Therefore, the distraction itself is not necessarily the secondary afflictions.
ini neshi ki nansi jibi nanyi jorwa ta de nyemu re ila uwa ta jida nanyi la nyemu yugu ma resi uwa nanyi la nyemu yugu yo ma resi o nini neshi ki nansi jibi ta nini neshi ku chanso nyemu re derwa chanso nyemu rwa ta kasi kundo keson nansi jisho zara ya tsani dhugu nansi keson sewa de nyemu me imba ma zi tsani rwa tsayi nyemu rwa o de keson de 다 내무제 내무기 싸워니 가더라와 에디나 계속은 야 내무 이고 말해서 같이 주셔인 받고 지나 계속 야 내무 이고가 요 말해서 다 되게 지발해와
Yeah, so when we talk about these distractions, if we are talking about the distractions in the context of 20 secondary afflictions, so this distraction is an affliction. It is an afflicted distractions. So basically, 20 secondary afflictions are all afflictions, or they are all afflicted. So however, if we talk about distraction in general, then the distraction in general is not necessarily an affliction, or it's not necessarily afflicted. So similar to to doubt that I mentioned before in the context of 6 root afflictions. So doubt in the context of 6 root afflictions, it is necessarily and afflictions. It is afflicted. So it's not only an afflictions, it is one of the root afflictions. So however, in general, when we talk about doubt in general, then it is not necessarily an affliction.
다 간다 초안에 나이게 보면 내시분들 다 간다 니니시 집이 되세요. 다들이 간다 뭐저 초아던 거들와 니니 내시분 거니 막 좋았어요. 니니 말씀 된 나이 받는 내시요와 다 내시보다 니니 집이 되세요. 간다 산이 나온다 녀 게다 산이 되다가 차도 봐 이미나 니니시 집아 해서 다시와 다 초안이 간다 나이게 보면 내시분들 간다 니니 못 봐서 라고 얘기지 다 니니 못 봐서 라고지 그 잔이냐다 녀 대다기 차도 바이비나 니니스키라고 그래 야 가시기 때 저희들아 잔이기 차도 비로와 잔이 나기 차도비 랑기 지와 랑기 지세 마시와 시비 제비나 딱한다 니니스 도서 나오니 지요와 랑기 생지 마시와 시비 랑기 생지 마시와 시비 차
Yeah. So discussions of the category of secondary afflictions. In this way, these 20 from belligerence up to distraction are called secondary afflictions. So in English is translated as secondary afflictions. And if we were to translate these Tibetan words literally, then it is called near afflictions. So the word explanations of Tibetan word is near afflictions. So because they are near to or involved with the root afflictions. So why is it called secondary afflictions? It's because they are near to. So just like the word explanations, the Tibetan words, the etymology of the Tibetan word so near afflictions, because they are near to or involved with the root afflictions. So this is one of the reasons. Then or involved with the root afflictions, another reason why they are called secondary afflictions. So not just that secondary afflictions are involved or part of the root afflictions, they also cause unpeacefulness to the mind, or they also cause our mind to be unpeaceful. So because of this, then they are called secondary afflictions. Furthermore, you should understand them.
The bishop the Walmart tour the Kinsey Kundu the day chat over in the Sheba Shawase. The Casino Hisarwa. Tours a Kinsey one Kundu chat over yes. And so tours over the Kazichi Shizari, the Lingon, a leader Marvel loss of a pen was paid to Degusan, a mouth the Hajan fish, sit up in Logos of the Dutch. Immediately the Kundu the Piwachi with the tour the Kinsey and the Kundu the Piwachi.
Kinsey na choa ina
niga choa the Kinsey niga piwachi skanda the Kinsey de wang de pe ya kundu de piwachi Kinsey de wang ya choa de wang ya kundu de piwachi yes ro the kundu ki cha to ba chang yes skanda
lunga ki ni di sit ta bola ba som ra re
o linga pe ta nga ki na pe sit pe ta bo log sang sa ni pe le wa da the li ji na pe la pa pe shu sang sa na chi o de li ji they were to
yeah. Furthermore, you should understand them individually. Belligerence and resentment being near to anger and being involved with it, anger and so forth. So previously, we also gone through belligerence and resentment already, and they are part of anger. So belligerence and resentment, they are like, as it is they're thinking about speaking harsh words to another person, or they are thinking about hating another person. So those are examples of belligerence and resentment. So because of belligerence and resentment, then it causes the anger to increase further. That's and then we come to the last category, the 4 changeable mental factors. These 4 are sleep, regret, investigation, and analysis. Yeah, so regarding the first mental factor, sleep, I don't think that I need much, we don't need much explanations. We all know sleep very well.
야 니들 제바 뭐뭐저야 티시나 디스 팽고야 니지 간이나 니지 줄라 때네때 개와다 니지 줄라 때네때 니들 오 개와도다 미개와다 루도 마티바도 소리에서 니지 줄라 때네로와 다 니지 줄서와다 나서 토마테 니쿠야 꾸노다 도셰바다 무슨 방법 손대는 거지 와 오다들 때네때 개와다 미개와다 로마다 디다 디마이 바다 리바다 무리바다 세디바 뚜무기 차도 아세 need kind of too much.
Yeah, so however, there is the differences in sleep. These first mental factors itself, there are different types of sleep. So it is a withdrawal of the mind in dependence on the cause of sleep. So in dependence upon sleep, its cause with respect to. Yeah, so it is a withdrawal of the mind in dependence on the cause of sleep. So in dependence on the cause of sleep, then sleep can be virtuous, it can be non-virtuous, or it can be unspecified. So with respect to virtue, non-virtue, and unspecified, timely and untimely, and appropriate and inappropriate. And it is involved with ignorance, is part of ignorance, and it has the functions of acting as a support for failing to perform actions. So just as it has been said above, it is an awareness that causes the engagement in objects of the sense consciousness to powerlessly withdraw inwards in dependence upon its causes, such as heaviness of body. So some of you might relate this heaviness of body to fat or obesity. So and then weakness. So one becomes weak, and fatigue. So one becomes tired, and engagement to signs of darkness. So these are the cause in dependent on which then sleep arises. So here, so when we feel when sleep comes, then our sense consciousness will be stopped. Another way of saying this is our sense consciousnesses will not manifest. Like for example, one unable to see, one will not see the form, and one will not hear the sound, or one will not taste, experience the taste of the food. So, and as in entering the middle way says, when one sleep, only the mental consciousness is in functions. Other than mental consciousness, others refer to sense consciousnesses. Other sense consciousnesses cannot manifest. And here regarding the timely and the untimely. So timely and the untimely refers to the time to sleep. So it is just as it has been said by the protector Nagarjuna in his letter to a friend. So there is one verse here, sensible ones, occupy yourself the entire daytime and also the first and last parts of the night. Sleep with mindfulness between this, then even the time of sleep will not be wasted. So what do we understand from this verse is the middle watch of the night, or the middle part of the night, it is time for sleep. It's the time for sleep. So as it says here, first and last parts of the night, and daytime is not the time to sleep. Only the middle part of the night is the time for sleep. So other than this, then one should engage in the virtue. So as it says here, whereas the first and last watches of the night, as well as daytime, not being the time for sleep, are times for making effort in the application of virtue. Yeah, so to roughly give an idea of the first and last part of the night, then I'll say what time it is, first and last part of the night. So roughly is like the first part of the night is 9 p.m. So the first part of the night is 9 p.m. Then after that, then the in between, so the middle part of the night would be around 9 to 5 a.m. And then the last part of the night would be around like 5 a.m. So then that is the time to wake up. And so this is just a rough idea of what time is the first and the last parts of the night. So, however, it depends on the country itself also. So, and when we say regarding the appropriate and the inappropriate. So just now we talk about the timely and untimely, and the second part is the second part is the appropriate and the inappropriate. Sleeping during middle watch of the night out of the wish to engage in virtue by developing the elements of the body is appropriate, whereas sleep motivated by afflictions, even during the middle part of the night, is inappropriate. So here it talks about appropriate and inappropriate is related to the motivations. So if the motivations of the way of thinking when one is going to sleep is motivated by afflictions, then sleep itself become non-virtue. It becomes obstacles to accomplishing virtue. So if one sleep with the mind or having motivated by compassions and loving kindness or bodhicitta, then that sleep itself becomes virtue.
Ni tiki shire la ta shawa shuwa ase disungo ruwa ta di matari jil matari jil ni de la giwa da cha ni yebe magi cha nyami jiji ni jine di gi shawa nyamba shire ese wa nga su ni kanga ki gi shawa nyamba shire la uwa mada ya di hako ga chikurwa nga su ni gi shire taji kundu ma shusa yiba ni gi shire de shawa shuwa leje ese gi shawa shuwa tenshi leje ese di tanda dirwa tendi gi shawa shuwa tenshi leje so ni de nyamu bi ni de shawa nyamu bi ni de di keja shigura mato nga su ngani ni chenda zoni pe so li ke to jeba ta chi gewa druba la pimba drumurwa mi drumbo soya ni chi me ba ina mi drumbo chago marwa lojo che tu marwa ni kanga de ke shigura ni cheba shi ni tila gewa de gewa luma de so yorwa jidang nga su ni sewa de luma de shago jidang ni sewa de hebi chage on shiwa ina tanyon chi sheba luma de sheba se ni kurang sheba ngol pa shawa ina tanyon chi sheba luma de sheba ni kurang chi chara
ni sewa
jidang nga su ni sewa de kanda seyu sheba jirwa de li shawa de ni sewa de tanyon chi sheba jidang luma de sheba re ma to ge me ge kanya sheba mare ni sewa de rwa luma de rwa
jidang sewa
jidang china da tanda li ka shewa de da ni de la ni luma de la pe gi ngon rwa jidang magi ngon rwa ni le mo da kanda jidang ni luma de yimba la ni kurang luma de yimba la da ni kurang ngo de la ya gi ngon rwa jidang magi ngon rwa ni le mo yese da shawa shu ile ji so de da nyomu ji ni de la de da gi shawa na ma nyang ba shi de shawa shu le che le yes de la da gi shawa ma za nang pe nang lega de beji lega ka de ji pis to ba lega ka ni du go na de ti shu shu ya de kanda le ji shawa
Yeah, so its function is specified as failing to perform actions, right? So because since sleep is of two types, the virtuous and the non-virtuous, the non-virtuous type, afflicted sleep, causes virtuous activities to degenerate. Yeah, so in general, when we talk about sleep, so sleep can be a virtue, can be non-virtue, or it can be unspecified. So in general, there are three divisions of sleep. So and in general, when we talk about sleep, sleep is categorized as unspecified. Even though it's categorized as unspecified, but it can be a virtuous sleep or it can be a non-virtuous sleep. So here, its function is specified as failing to perform actions, right? So in other way of saying this is failing to perform the virtuous actions or being unable to perform the virtuous actions. So here, because of this function, it is specified as failing to perform virtuous actions, right? So it refers specifically to the afflicted sleep. It refers to the afflicted sleep or the non-virtuous sleep. So not only that, one will be failed to perform virtuous actions because of this sleep, and then one will be unable to perform the works or actions to achieve excellent happiness. So in general, when we talk about sleep, sleep is also a type of consciousness. So sleep itself is also a consciousness, and this consciousness is either indifferent or unspecified. So, and if we talk about other type of sleep, so there are other type of sleep, how say, like to increase one's body strength, to regain vitality, etc. So if we do not sleep, then we are unable to perform function, we are unable to work or even to engage in virtuous actions, right? So so besides afflicted sleep, so there are virtuous sleep as well. Like for example, having motivated by those good thoughts and to increase the body strength and then to perform virtuous actions.
Ni ganga de ganda yi shawa nyamba shi le ji ma res la wa chidang nga ni de luma de yes luma de ji sheba ji res ko ganda an ji sheba da luma de ji sheba ji chal wa ino ta de ni luma de ji she ni luma de la ganda ge yi mo ro da ji ku ji ba ya ta ni de so ma nya ga pe uno pe chanju bi sen ji sen ba de ni ji de ya ko ji ko ni sheba ina ta ganda ni ji di wa lu yo ta ma ni ga pe na 다 미란 드레스에다 차도다 나지 되게 왕게 상당 시민가 내니 쇼바이나 다 미기와 거지 그러와 왜 din지 다 간다 다 기와를 숨바데 맞아 바바 돈에 사딩을 줄때 시체신 손에 레시피 놓는거와 바바 돈에 사딩을
So that the virtuous type of sleep does exist is explained in detail in Asanga's treatises on the levels. So the meaning here is not all types of sleep are non-virtue. So not all types of sleep are non-virtue or afflicted sleep. So and not all types of sleep causes the failing to perform the virtuous actions. It depends. So in general, when we talk about sleep, sleep is unspecified in nature. So if we sleep with a virtuous mind, like for example, bodhicitta and compassions, then that sleep will become virtuous. And if we sleep with mind wanting to compete with others, jealousy, etc., then that sleep will become non-virtuous. So not all types of sleep are necessarily afflicted sleep. So what is regret? It is a remorseful mind dependent on any proper activity or improper activity, intended or unintended, with respect to virtue, non-virtue, and the unspecified, the timely and the untimely, and the appropriate and the inappropriate, and is involved with ignorance. It has the functions of hindering the stability of the mind. Yeah, so just as it has been said above, independence on oneself having performed an appropriate or inappropriate activity deliberately, or having been made to do so under duress, so he's being forced to do. So being remorseful about that activity, which one subsequently comes to dislike, is called generating regret. So basically, regret is a mental factors that one unwillingly to engage in it anymore. Yeah, so just like sleep, regret is of three types as well: virtuous, non-virtuous, unspecified. So for the first one, for example, regret the past misdeeds, then it belongs to the category, it belongs to the class of virtue. And the second one, regrets having created meritorious actions, then it belongs to the class of non-virtue. And the last one is regret for something that is neither beneficial nor harmful, such as manual work, then it is unspecified.
That is all my second do want to be did the money but did the money but the Maripa someone chase you be teaser in Japa Shiri Pata. Got the chase Yoba Chila, then Japa. This in Japa Shabana, in Japa Chiri Bachi. And the one my level can chase maybe this in Japa Maripas.
So the timely and the untimely and the appropriate and the inappropriate means that generating regret when something is rectifiable is appropriate. So when something is rectifiable or fixable, then it is appropriate. Whereas regret when it is not rectifiable or fixable, then it is inappropriate.
That choose you be using Japa, Ripa that Nami, Madu go to Dipa and Japa, Chadon Chapa, that did it. Nami did Madu. That was a number torsion of Toma, number Sinji with Toshio, or that did it, number Sinji with Todi, number Sinji with Todi, Kanda, the Sister Penua, that is a Penjava Tabu and Deva. Give us certain diverse. That's the number of the Mammy Mila. What did that? Kiss you be using Japan. That number Madu called the Japan Jabasha. That not choose never there. Then Nami in Japan tuning so the chief Sabbath. So, mean one over the Combo Madia with the Nami in Japan to Sanju Shiva. But the two Sanju court. Meanwhile, money by the Gamba table, my
Yeah. So what does it mean by when something is rectifiable is appropriate, whereas regret when it's not rectifiable is inappropriate? So the meaning here is when it is rectifiable refers to, for instance, the necessity to confess misdeeds with regret before the friction has been established in the present. So in other way of saying this is before the karma ripen, then one confess the negativities, then it becomes appropriate to regret, because it is still rectifiable because the friction is not established yet or the karma is not ripened yet. So not rectifiable refers to, for instance, rebirth in a bad migration due to friction having been established, since having been born blind, physically disabled, and so forth, are occasions where the friction has been established, they are irreversible. So regret when something is not rectifiable refers to one has already reborn in the bad migrations already, or one has already born blind or physically disabled, then it is inappropriate because it is not rectifiable anymore.
that is then Java game against you shall do what on Java and give on the word. McGee shall do what Java Chivana give on the word. That don't do Gee shall do such a deal and Java Chivana, that McGee on Rogere. McGee shall do what then Java Chivana and the numbers in Todra. They give on the word. Or that you might didn't so in us, but so Java Chivana.
Yeah, therefore, when we talk about the four opponent powers, then the first one, the one of it is the power of regret, right? So, in order to generate this power of regret, then we have to regret, or we have to generate a strong regret. So, in brief, when we talk about regret, it can be virtuous or non-virtuous, right? So, if you regret some meritorious actions, if you regret virtuous actions, then it becomes a non-virtue. This regret becomes non-virtue. So if you regret a previously accumulated negativities, then it becomes a virtuous type of regret.
That does you put another jeopardy to move chat over the Shima. Jeopardy to move chat over the essay. To move chat over the essay, and Japan Yamuji to the Shivota. When Japan Yamuji, the issue of the Japan Yamuji. Oh, the Tumu Chato, the Japan Yamuji to the Shiva, and Java got to move chat on Mada. The Java Java much sooner to what the Suga was that the Tumu Chato was what Java Yamuji to the Shiva.
Yeah, so so it's involved with ignorance, right? Regret is involved or part of ignorance. So and this regret being a part of ignorance, it refers to the afflicted regret. So it refers to afflicted regrets. So not all types of regret are part of ignorance.
나도 또봐도 주변이만 해야다. 나 또봐도 주변이나 간다. 뭔가 근데 또봐기는 셈바 히러 때문에 근데 소위 이지 접하대. 세찜하지. 나 또봐서 세찜 세라 하는 거. 찜에서 잡아서 식으로.
Yeah. So the last two of four changeable mental factors is investigations and analysis. What is an investigation? It is a mental expressions of inquiry, depending on either intention or wisdom. It is a coarse mind.
또 봐서다 간다. 근데 셈바도 히러를 때문에 더 강하로 라피고 넘버 싸워치. 라피 넘버 좋아. 라피 넘버 좋이 생주 지라고 간다. 또 봐서. 와 셈바도 히러를 때문에 더 강하 더 라피 넘버치.
라파지.
라파치. 더 강이나 라파지 강이도 된 넘버 속에 또 봐서 차도 해서 와. 라피 와 라피 넘버 초이 간다 생주지 해서 또 봐서. 라피 넘버 속에 생주지. 또 봐 그러면 뭐 찍어서 라파를 해서 와.
Yeah, so investigations is a coarse mind. So it is a mental expressions of inquiry depending on either intentions or wisdom, and then it is a coarse mind. So it is a mental factors with the coarse aspect. So not only the mind itself or the mental factors itself is of coarse type, and the object that these mental factors inquires is also a coarse object. So it is unable to inquire a subtle or fine object. So what is analysis? It is a mental expressions of individual examination depending on either intention or wisdom. It is a fine mind.
다간다 제바서다 소토비 이지 제바데 이게 세칸 시바세 다 제바데 가서 세 차와지 또 바서다 가서 세 라바지 단 그러니 제바 제우디 또 바서와 되게 간다 대초디 라피 넘버서 소위 생기 들리지가 상담지 좋아 라피 넘버서 들리 생기라 상담지 또 바서와 되라 좋아
주바 있나 디 차위 넘버.
더 차위 넘버 저러.
되는데야 차워.
더 차워라베 차위 넘버지.
Yeah. So analysis is a fine mind or is a subtle mind. So it is able to inquire about a subtle object as compared to investigation. So investigation is a coarse mind, and it is able to only inquire about a coarse object, and analysis is a fine mind or a subtle mind, and it is capable of inquiring about a fine or subtle object.
다 도진이지 시리라 간다 드레도 시리라 간다 레파니 바다 레파니 머니 대시도 선만 도진이나 게임이 차니 옆이 되게 이슈지 도진이지 단 레파 다 된다들이 간다 다시 공부지 뭐 시설에 다 도진이가 간다 집바시 해봐시 이게 뭐 그만데 소가 소가 집바지자 아무도 도도도 그러지 않겠다.
Yeah, so investigations and analysis are just like the previous changeable mental factors. Is of three types: virtuous, non-virtuous, and unspecified.
그 이슈스 집에 간다 도진이 좀 제부터 이도 뭐와 집바시 되와라 제가 많이 대시 봐서 와 대시 봐도 간다 뭐기와디
나 공다 가와요.
the world much out of
because I'm
you move to Baship, the wallet, the Bomination, Sansa.
How are you now?
Well, I told you, Chilella, Repani, many as you that the issues to be told you in Jebba. Oh, told you that the issues to be told you in Jebba, you want to be the wallet Repani station for us. The other Nigadua. The Tochi Nigal, not the other Magio, no matter so you're that the issues that you told you in Jebba, you don't want to be. The wallet Repani station.
You didn't know like you know.
Jebba conscious that you want to do at this point.
Oh, do. Oh, yeah, do.
Oh, the game about the Machado.
Yeah, so their functions is to act as a support for abiding in contact and not abiding in contact. So, yeah, so I think it's
what they were saying the world market. The other controls of the you don't want that. Moons are Toba Hito, Japan, Magishu, yes, the world Madua. Give Magi say Kaya, Maiba Zoe, the Jelans of Toba, Japan, Numati Chari, yes. World Magi shows the Kanan Magi shows the Chibi, Odin in Jibba, eat the Moa Chiba, she developed many but they Shibana, that and then Magi. The other controls of the Yito, one of the moons, Hito Jibas Magi show. So, oh, give Magi say Kaya, my Zoe Neda. Jelans Jibana, about the Jibana, Lumati Chicha.
So the functions of investigations and analysis is specified as acting as a support for abiding in contact and not abiding in contact, because investigations and analysis are each of two types, the virtuous and the non-virtuous. So here, both are the explanations, so I refer to this one. So moreover, investigations and fine analysis of the meaning of selflessness with the thought to definitely emerge from secular existence and so forth belong to the class of virtue. And investigations and fine analysis of the modes of pleasant or unpleasant objects motivated by attachment, anger, and so forth belong to the class of non-virtue. So if you look at this explanations, is easier. So, and analysis and investigations of work, behavior, and so forth, they are neither virtuous nor non-virtuous minds, are unspecified.
Oh, that is so that Toji in Jebba, Toji Shibundela, and the Lumati Shitanba, game is that Nika Shitara Suga, game Giwata, Lumati Suga Shitara. Oh, that is done Jebba the need a top Shibundela. Yenji Japan, you say the person that Dashi Shimda. Who knows somebody that's Sunday on that game of the Lumati Chirisan during a life changes about Shin do the other to the person. Then you told you she would la, and she would la. That who want to be a game of the Lumati Takanda? Who want? Who want the game of the Lumati? You say that changes about you.
And here is the etymological explanations of changeable mental factors. So why are these four, sleep, regret, investigation, and analysis, called changeable? Because they become virtuous, non-virtuous, or unspecified through the force of being concomitant with the motivating thought. So in other way of saying this is, in other words, is they become virtuous, non-virtuous, or unspecified, depends on the motivation. Nakama cuma simsu. Isu yang dia.
Tanga tu wal ma Jipanga di darwa. Jipanga de kanda gubata, Jepada, Diligua. Yes, Mubatawa, you don't do to myself. Oh, the machine. Jipanga. The two legend together. Jipangan, Yopa than Jopanini, Jipachi the ship. Jipangan, Yopa than Jopani, Jipachi the ship. Neither Mooney, Jipachi the ship. That near say, the Apollo, Jipa the Tesona, the Vinci, what did not know cut legend.
That's right. So, So the 5 obscurations are taught in Sutra. So they are just as they have been taught by the protector Nagarjuna in Letter to a Friend. So excitement and regret, these 2 are counted as 1. Harmful intent, second one. And the third one, sleep and lethargy. So these 2 are counted as 1 as well. And the 4th is aspiration for the desarium. And 5, the 5th one, doubt. These 5 are 5 obscurations.
And the Balam Dimba, the Nisi, so Trinity level yes. And the Balam Dimba, and the Young to the world. And the Young Iowa, or the Young as a doctor, Sepata. And Nisi, the Nibi to Trinity. Trinity as a point, say by Chalmura, or Takanda, Kanda, this is some the work nature to the point, say much. That Karina was the Trinity that put you. The Balan Dimba, the Nisi, so Trinity level, never yes. Neither Mubadi, neither Mubada, Gubad and Japan and the singular. Energy levels. Energy level. Never yes, yes.
Yes. So furthermore, aspiration for the attributes of the desariums, so the 5 desire objects, and harmful intent mainly obscure the training in ethics. Sleep, lethargy, excitement, and regret mainly obscure the training of mind. So training of mind, in other words, training of meditative concentration. Doubt, investigations, and analysis mainly obscure the training in wisdom.
Nila game Roma de Sonora. So you move on in that ni hindered the door, yes, or ni hindered. You could go to the red.
That's all. The Chazan do you worry.
Oh, there is my legend.
That's all.
You didn't know the Chazamo.
That's all. And that they don't have Jemas Sunge. Don't have Jemas Sunge. Come on,
that jail,
that's all.
but Jibanga the other jail might learn.
That's all.
Tanane
Kansuma de Kugoyana.
Jibanga jail learning was in Sarah.
That's all. Tanane di Kazanita Mo, Kebadi. That's all.
That jail she in Tazaman.
That's all. Yeah, so because we're going to recite prayers for Rinpoche, so then we are unable to complete these 5 obscurations today. So I will continue next class or the last class. Yeah, so now we proceed to reciting prayers for Rinpoche.
Which in the bed, the Kiram Chindu Joseph, judges the Abushi to just to scholar of us. Not the teachers of this.
Yeah. So I contacted Ken Rinpoche, and then Ken Rinpoche said that the surgery went well, so no worries. So then let's go to it. That's all. Yeah, so then we start prayer. That's all. Go le dare ma du dara ye jige du nawa na le do ma nyu la ja zi on dare du re so 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 Om dare tu re soha, 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 Om Dare Tutare Ture 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 soha, Resoha, Om Dare Tutare Turesoha, 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 Om Dare Tutare Turesoha. Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pe Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa Mo Tu Ta Ra I Ji Ku Se Ma Tu Re Tu Na Tang Chi Tu Ma Su Ha I Ge Cha Ra Tu Om Jie Zhi Ma Pa Ma Jo Ma La Cha Sa Lu Cha Cha Jo Ma Da Re Pa mo tu tarai chu se ma tu ri tana ta te ma so ai de chara om je tu ma pa ma tu ma la cha sa lo che se tu ma tare pa mo tu tarai chu se ma tu ri tana ta te ma so ai de chara om je tu ma sa lo che se tu ma tare pa mo tu tarai chu se ma tu ri tana ta te ma so ai de chara om je tu ma pa ma tu ma la cha sa lo che se tu ma tare pa mo tu tarai chu se ma tu ri tana ta te ma so ai de chara ra we recite Vajrasattva mantra, long one 3 times and short one mala. Om Benza Soto Samaya Manu Balaya Benza Sato Deno Patita Tito Me Bawa Sudokaya Me Bawa Supokaya Me Bawa Anurato Me Bawa Sawasiti Me Bayasa Sawakama Susame Chidan Shuyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bagawa Sawatata Kata Benza Mame Musa Benza Bawa Ma Samaya Sato A Hong Pe Om Benza Sato Samaya Manu Balaya Benza Sato Deno Patita Tito Me Bawa Sudokaya Me Bawa Supokaya Me Bawa Anurato Me Bawa Sawasiti Me Bayasa Sawakama Masutame, Chidan Suyam Kuru Hong Ha Ho Bagawa, Sawatata Kata Benza Mame Musa Benza Bawa Ma Samaya Sato A Hong Pe, Om Benza Sato Samaya, Manubalaya, Benza Sato Tenopatita, Tuto Me Bawa, Sudokayo Me Bawa, Subokayo Me Bawa, Anuratu Me Bawa, Sawasiti Me Bayasa, Savakama Sutame, Chidan Suyam Kuru Hong Ha Ho Bagawan, Sawatata Kata Benza Mame Musa Benza Bawa Ma Samaya Sato A Hong Pe, Om Benza Sato Hong, 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 Benza Sato Hong, Om 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 Benza Sato Hong. Emaho, Sambasunduma. Emaho, in Devachan, blissful pure realm of the West, Amitabha's compassionate blessing was aroused, and he blessed his emanation, Pema Sambhava, to come into this world to bring benefit to all beings. Compassionate One, you never cease to bring us help and well-being. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen, we pray, grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. All the Dharma kings from Gyel-tsen down to the very end of the royal line, throughout past, present, and future, know your constant blessing. You are the only protection for rulers who follow Dharma, as in Tibet. Compassionate One, you safeguard the lands that practice Dharma. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen, we pray, grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. While your wisdom body subjugates the Rakshasas in the southwest, you look on sentient beings everywhere with compassion. Magnificent guide for sentient beings led astray by ignorance. Skillfully you teach them with their emotions so difficult to tame. Compassionate One, your love is constant in its kindness and care. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen, we pray, grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Now, when this degenerate dark age reaches its final depths, At dawn and dusk you come for those that have devotion, riding on the rays of the rising and setting sun, and on the 10th day of the waxing moon you come in person. Compassionate one, you act with vast power to help all beings. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Now in this dark age, the age of conflict, the final era of 500 parts, the 5 poison of the negative emotions grow ever more violent in all sentient beings. Recklessly we indulge in destructive emotions and let the poisons dominate our minds. At a time like this, let your compassion be our refuge and protection. Compassionate one, you lead those with devotion to the higher realms. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When terrifying armies of oppression encircle us, menacing the great centers of Dharma with destruction, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, with your retinue of the 8 classes of gods and demons, you will repel aggressors and their armies. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When sickness strikes to destroy the fragile bodies of sentient beings, when diseases plunge us into unbearable suffering and agony, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, embodiment of the Buddha of medicine, you will remove the obstacles that bring untimely death. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When nature turns against us and Earth's resources fail, when sentient beings are tormented by the plague of famine, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, with all your Dakinis and deities of prosperity, you will dispel all deprivation, all hunger and thirst. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When the destined revealers retrieve hidden treasures for the benefit of beings, courageous and confident of our pure unbroken samaya, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, inseparable from our Yidam deity, you will ensure the true heirs receive their father's treasure. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When traveling through hidden lands, forests, and deserted places, when our way is blocked and we are cut off by storms, by rain and snow, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, surrounded by mighty local deities, you will lead us practitioners to the right path. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When vicious wild animals menace us, tigers, leopards, bears, and poisonous snakes, on our way through terrifying passes, wild and desolate places, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, along with your kings, warriors, and protectors, you will drive off these ferocious creatures. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When obstacles arise in earth, water, fire, and air to threaten these illusory bodies of ours with destruction, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, with the goddesses of the 4 elements, you will harmonize the elements into their natural state. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When traveling on dangerous roads, with murderous bandits and robbers attack us, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, through your realization of the 4 mudras, you will dispel the terror of all brutality and greed. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When faced by killers on all sides who threaten us with little weapons, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, the protection of your Vajra tent will cause killers to panic and weapons to be scattered. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When this lifespan is exhausted and we come to die, if we are wrecked by the intense anguish and pain of dying, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray. O Guru Rinpoche, as you are the emanation of Buddha Amitabha, it is certain we will be born in the blissful pure realm of Devachan. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Once this borrowed and illusory body is destroyed in the battle realm, when our deluded experiences and our further delusions arise to make us suffer, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, you who know past, present, and future, through your compassion, you will let all delusions be self-liberated. Of these we have no doubt. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When we are overwhelmed by karma and circumstance and suffer through grasping at delusion as real, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, King of great bliss, you will utterly destroy the delusions that bring suffering. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When beings of all six realms are tormented by immense pain, and especially when our leaders and people are engulfed in suffering, with intense longing and devotion from the depths of our hearts, with no trace of doubt or hesitation we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, with your unchanging, unwavering compassion, watch over us. To the lotus-born Guru of Ogyen we pray. Grant your blessing so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Pajalamse. Om Ahum Vajaguru Bema Siddhi Hum. Dhammakaya Amitabha, I supplicate you. Sambhogakaya, great compassionate one, I supplicate you. Nimanakaya Bemakara, I supplicate you. My Guru, wonderful Nimanakaya, in the land of India, you were born, you studied and contemplated. Journeying in person to Tibet, you tamed the demonic forces. Residing in the land of Udayana, you acted for the welfare of beings. Through your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. Through your affection, guide myself and others on the path. Through your realization, grant me the siddhis. Through your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Om Ahum Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. When seeing the wonder of bodily forms, you make the sword mudra with your right hand. With your left, you make the summoning mudra. With gaping mouth, bare fangs, and upward gaze, Gyel Tsen, Lord of beings, with your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the siddhis. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Om Ahum Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. When receiving the precious and sacred teachings, your radiant body is endowed with a luminous complexion. Your right hand holds the scriptures of the Tripitaka. Your left holds a volume of Kilaya. You comprehend all the profound teachings. Pandita Yang Lesho. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the siddhis. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Om Ahum Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. When binding the vow holders under oath at the beautiful and immaculate supreme place, at the borderline between India and Tibet, you bestow your blessings on the moment of arrival. At the mountain endowed with enveloping fragrance, even in winter time, lotus flowers bloom. At this supreme and blissful place, the spring of enlightenment with nectar-like water, Kicho Tusang, dressed in the robes of the Dharma. Your right hand holds the 9-point Raja. Your left holds a jewel casket filled with Rakta nectar. You bow under oath the Dakinis and vow holders. Seeing the Yidam face to face, you accomplish the siddhis. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the siddhis. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Om Ahum Vajaguru Bema Siddhi Hum. When establishing the doctrine of the victorious one,
You perform sadhana in the forest of the Slate Mountain, throwing your recitation dagger into the sky's expanse. You caught it and rolled with your Vajra Mudra. Rolling, you threw it into the sandalwood forest. The fireplace and the lake dry up. Instantly, you burn away all the places of the Titikas and reduce the black yakshas to dust. Matchless slayer of demons, with your kindness bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. When you subjugate the Rakshas, young boy in the Manakaya attire, wondrous form of goodness with magnificent color, with even teeth and beautiful golden hair, in the manner of a 16-year-old youth, you wear various kinds of jewel ornaments. With your right hand, you hold a bell metal dagger, subjugating the Maras and Rakshas. With your left, you hold the thick dagger, you're protecting your devoted disciples. Around the neck, you wear the iron dagger, indivisible from the Yidam deity. Non-dual Nimanakaya, ornament of Jambavippa. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. When intending to go to the land of ghosts in the area of massive fire, within a lake with the expanse of an arrow shot, upon a lotus you are cool and refreshed, meditating within a lotus flower, known as Pema Sambhava. You appeared as a perfect Buddha in person, such a wondrous Nimanakaya. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. When becoming the son of Tibet, glorious guide of devoted beings, you manifested in different forms to tame beings according to their needs. At the Kala Pass in Zhang, you bound Jalha Genye under oath. At the district of Zawek Zasho, the 2140 Deva Genyans, you bound under oath at Jiamjing of Mangyu. You bestow cities of the four monks, supreme eminent Vyadara. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your power, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. At the glorious plain of Pemotang, you bound the 12 Dhamma goddesses under oath. At the Kala Pass of central Tibet, you bound fleshless white glacier under oath. At Tamshot Habu Yingrung, you bound Tangla Yashu under oath. At the very summit of Hepori, you bound at all the devas and rakshas under oath. Of all these great devas and demons, some offered the core of their life force, some undertook guarding the teachings, and some pledged to be servants. Mighty One with powers and miracles, with your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. When establishing the doctrine of the sacred Dharma, like a banner of victory, some year without being erected was spontaneously accomplished. And you will fulfill the wishes of the king. You were endowed with the names of three great beings. One was Pemakara, one was Pema Sambhava, and one was Lake-born Vajra. Your secret name was Doje Japotsa. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you, O my home, Benza Guru Pema City home. As Samye Chimbu, when practicing sadhana, you repel negative conditions and bestow the siddhis. You establish the king and ministers on the path of liberation and cause the born doctrine negativity in manifest form to wane. You show the precious and immaculate Dhammakaya and place the destined ones in Buddhahood. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the siddhis. With your power, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Omahom Benza Guru Benma Siddhi Hom. Having left for the land of Ugyen, you now subdue the Rakshas. Your great qualities surpass any human being. Your actions are wonderful and amazing. Mighty one with powers and miracles. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the siddhis. With your powers, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Omahom Benza Guru Benma Siddhi Hom. Possessing the body, speech, and mind, you are the glorious guide of beings. Having discarded all obscurations, you perceive the three realms vividly. Having achieved the supreme city, sublime body of great bliss, you surely dispel the obstacles to attaining enlightenment. With your kindness, bestow your blessings upon me. With your affection, guide myself and others on the path. With your realization, grant me the cities. With your power, dispel the obstacles of myself and others. Clear the outer obstacles externally. Clear the inner obstacles internally. Clear the secret obstacles spontaneously. Respectfully, I bow down and take refuge in you. Omahom Benza Guru Benma Siddhi Hom. Omahom Benza Guru Benma Trodense Vaja Samaya Za Siddhi Pala Hom A. Long life prayer for Lama Soba Rinpoche. Di kaza shabde. Kaza chuo. Kaza tuya di karola yi tsam shagore. Kaza da ina di jipa jiga ra shabde re. Through eliminating all, your appearance dispels the darkness. Your clear mind knows the 84,000 heaps of Dharma, the power of the remedy to the 84,000 delusions. Your proclaiming dependent arising itself is victorious in battle with the Maras. I worship the supremely kind, great Vajradhara on my crown. Clarifying the scriptures and realizations, the teachings of the Muni, you spread and illuminate those teachings wherever they have not yet spread in the world. Having become an actual son of the conquerors, you bear hardships with patience. In your continuum is realizations, the perfection of wisdom, subtle dependent arising. Precious jewel, Lord possessing love and compassion, who liberates upon seeing. Treasure of mastery of the all arising interpretive and definitive scriptures, supremely great among the great, fully comprehending and clarifying the meaning of emptiness and compassion. You guide all beings in the path to liberation. Perfectly qualified spiritual friend, my guru, please remain forever. She who protects from the fears of the three times, Ayatara, please increase the lifespans and activities of the beings who preserve the holy Dharma, and always, without separation, develop their spontaneous actions by the infallible deities of the three roots. May all be auspicious.
Dhamma to Gizawa Diladin, keep them by the Gavadi. It's a true to the Dingy Ginger conversation. It's the means of the shoe. That's about Lama the Wilson, another country to the Lama's body. Two goes a kind of human to water. Then no she did it, but near the turn, let them by the go to the cylinder here to see what changes. And that earns on the conduct. More to the real stage, since it's a blessing and second Thomas and the matter. Sunshine, when you to true stage
we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue accumulated, especially through these Dhamma discussions, to the flourishing of Buddha Dhamma, and also to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all the upholders of the Buddha's teachings in the 10 directions, represented by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May His Holiness live eons long excellent health, and may his enlightened activities spread to all 10 directions, and may all his holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously. And we also dedicate our roots of virtue specifically, especially to our beloved teacher, Gyel-tsen Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May Rinpoche live eons long and may excellent health and quickly recover from the manifest sickness, and may his enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously. We also dedicate these fruits of virtue to the world peace, and may excellent happiness prevails the world. And may we also dedicate these fruits of virtue to the quick cessations of pandemic and wars and conflict.
Sabeke wadi tendang jua kon la kan ben dang ke ba je zun lo sang da ba yi ten be ni bo re do se je shu jan chu sen jo ren bo je ma ke pa nang ke kyu ji ke ba nyam ba me ba yang kon ne kon do be wa shu jan be ba we ji da ken ba da kun do sam bo de yang de shin de de da kun gi che su da lo che ke wa de da dang je ra do ngo tong yi da wa ren bo je ma ke pa nang ke kyu ji ke ba nyam ba me ba yang kon ne kon do be wa shu mi da wa ren bo je ma ke pa nang ke kyu ji ke ba nyam ba me ba yang kon ne kon do be wa shu jang ge ge we den jing gyong be we kun se do bo ze chu sun gu we le men tu du ba da so de je ge do sha de shu du yi je su do ju be lang se se kan jian den de gen chan na be mo den jing ga so la so wa de so xian de du shu ji den kan de pen de ma lu ba kan de ju yi xin no ka den su me den jing ga so la so wa de so tu xie ren du shu kan ji ra we ko we xin kan de pen na de wa ma lu ju we de se wa den jing ga so yi sha be si de pa du den yu ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shila.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.